Okay, we're gonna get started in just a minute.
That's right.
Yeah, we're gonna start. I'm gonna talk to you about that. Are we going on Monday? I'm not.
The point about the fact that
Now hearing that, I think you would have to say that these joint put together.
Okay, we're gonna get started in a minute. Could we get back to the dais? Okay, I call to order this regular meeting of the City of Campbell City Council on Tuesday, November 18th. Clerk, could we have the roll call, please?
Yes, one quick second. Councilmember Bybee.
present.
Councilmember Hines.
Present.
Councilmember Scazola.
Here.
Vice Mayor Furtado.
Here.
Mayor Lopez.
Here. Thank you so much. And we'll now do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Today, we have no special proclamations and presentations, and we have no communications and petitions. Next, we have oral requests. Do we have any members of the public that would like to speak on an item not on tonight's agenda? Do you have anyone online?
Do you not?
Okay, so we go on to the mayor's announcements. First, I want to hear from you. Please join me for a community conversation office hours with the mayor on Tuesday, December 9th from 5:30 to 6:30 p.m. in these council chambers. This is your opportunity to share the issues that matter with you, whether it's on neighborhood safety, local services, or ideas to make our city even better. Together, we can build solutions that align with our community. Next, city offices will be closed on Thursday, November 27th and Friday, November 28th in observance of the Thanksgiving holiday. Police and emergency services will remain open for business. The city clerk's office is accepting applications for the Parks and Recreation Commission through Friday, November 28th. Interested residents may apply on the city's website at campbellca.gov or by contacting the clerk's office at 408-866-2117 or via email at clerksoffice@campbellca.gov. Next, the annual downtown Campbell Carol of Light celebration will be held on Saturday, December 6th from 4 to 7 p.m. Calling all ugly sweaters, show off your most outrageous holiday fashion. Fun for all ages, face painting, petting zoo, arts and crafts, and bounce houses. This festive event is free and open to everyone. Don't miss the holiday cheer in downtown Campbell. Finally, the Ainsley House and Museum Holiday Boutique is open for public tours every Thursday through Sunday from 11 to 3 p.m. Tours are available until December 21st. For more information about this and other upcoming events, please visit campbellmuseums.com. Next, we have the consent calendar, which is items considered by the city council to be routine and enacted under one word. Are there any council members, staff, or members of the public that would like to pull an item from the consent calendar?
I don't need to pull the item, but I did want to publicly acknowledge the $5,000 donation once again from Gail Bowen Nolasco, one of the Ainsley family members who has been very generous to the museum, and acknowledge her donation, which is a part of the consent calendar.
Thank you very
No
much.
one's pulling an item. I'll move the approval of the consent calendar.
Councilor Bybee, did you have
I'll second.
and did you have a separate comment?
No, I forgot to turn mine.
Oh, okay. So second from Bybee. Thank you. City Clerk, could you call the roll?
Councilmember Bybee.
Aye.
Councilmember Hines.
Aye.
Councilmember Scazola.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Furtado.
Aye.
Mayor Lopez.
Aye. Thank you. Next, we have public hearings and introduction of ordinances. And item 8.1 is a public hearing to consider recommendation of an ordinance amending chapter 21.24, our inclusionary housing ordinance, and chapter 21.14 overlay combining districts to facilitate housing development and clarify related regulatory requirements, and an ordinance amending chapter 21.20 density bonuses and other housing incentives to implement Assembly Bill 1287 and establish a local density bonus incentive and in furtherance of our 2023 to 2031 housing element. And we'll hear from our housing manager, Elise.
Hi, good evening, Mayor, council members. Eloisa Murillo Garcia, Housing Manager. Yes, the item you have before you tonight, it's amendments to various housing ordinances. And also with me tonight, this was a collaborative effort with the Housing Division and Planning Division. So we have Daniel Fama, one of our senior planners, and we also have Stephen Rose, who is available virtually. So these amendments, they consist of two different parts. So the first part is the implementation of new housing policies to support housing production. So earlier this year, there were 2 study sessions on housing policy implementation with the Planning Commission and the City Council. And the second part is to implement one of our housing element policies, which is housing policy H1M, which is to establish a program that allows for increases in residential densities for projects that include smaller unit sizes as a means of providing for lower cost housing choices in Campbell. So for the first part, as I mentioned, there were 2 study sessions earlier this year, one in May Planning Commission and the second in August with City Council. As part of the discussion, staff noted that we discussed our progress today on the 2023-2031 housing element implementation. Based on the units that have been produced to date, the city is not on track to meet its assigned regional housing needs allocation, or RENA, by 2031, which is the end period of the current housing element cycle. The city is anticipated to produce 690 units of its 2,977 RENA allocation. So because of this, the study sessions were held to come up with potential ideas to stimulate more housing development. So as part of the study session, council provided direction on 4 different areas. The first is to extend the entitlement period for 100% affordable housing projects from 3 to 5 years, and that's part of our affordable housing overlay zone. Also, as part of the affordable housing overlay zone is to waive the ground floor commercial space requirements for 100% affordable housing projects outside of the downtown area. And third was to allow housing projects with 5 to 9 units to satisfy their inclusionary housing obligations through the payment of an in-lieu fee. And the last one was to standardize accessory dwelling unit requirements. I do want to note that the item before you tonight covers the first 3 items. The 4th item will be implemented separately, so it's not part of the item tonight. So I'll just give you a brief summary of the proposed amendments. So the first one is to chapter 21.14, which is the overlay combining districts. So there's 2 proposed amendments. One of them, as I mentioned before, is the extension of the approval period for affordable housing projects. So that's currently 3 years. So the amendment would be to approve the approval period to 5 years. The second one would be to exempt the ground floor commercial space requirement for 100% affordable housing projects except in the downtown area. The inclusionary housing ordinance also has a proposed amendment, and that's to allow housing projects from 5 to 9 units to pay an in lieu fee. And this would be to satisfy any whole or fractional unit obligation. And this would be for an interim period, so it would apply for 5 years ending June 30, 2030, which is kind of towards the end of the current housing element cycle. The second part is the implementation of housing element program H1M. And under this amendment, it establishes a new local density bonus program. So this really incentivizes the construction of smaller, affordable by design units. Under this amendment, under this new program, each small scale housing unit would be up to 625 square feet, and the bonus units would not be subject to the 15% inclusionary requirement. And I'll give an example in just a minute. So this is the eligibility criteria for projects. So there's criteria around minimum density, average unit size, affordability, and adherence to requirements. So this is an example of how this would work on a hypothetical 100-unit project. So in the first scenario, you have 100 units. So your base density is 100 units. Some 75 standard units are provided. 25 of the small units are provided. So those 25 units would renew a local density bonus of 25. So then you could potentially build 125 units. So that gives you a 25% increase. Likewise, if 50 small units are provided and 50 standard units are provided, the bonus units would be 50. So they're equivalent to the small units that are provided as part of the base density. So you could go up in the scenario up to 100. So if all 100 units were provided as part of your base density or small, you could get a density bonus of 100 units. So it could result in 200 units. This amendment also implements new state housing laws referred to as the double density, or AB 1287. On October 28th, the Planning Commission, so these were presented to Planning Commission on October 28th. They voted to recommend that council adopt the following amendments without modifications, which are again, for chapter 21.14, the extension of the approval period, the ground floor commercial space exemption for the inclusionary housing ordinance is to allow 5 to 9 housing units to pay an in lieu fee. And finally, for chapter 21.20, the incentives for smaller affordable housing by design. So I just wanted to give you just an estimate of potential increased revenues, and this is specifically for the amendment to the inclusionary housing ordinance, which would allow projects of 5 to 9 units to pay an in lieu fee. So we're estimating that we could receive up to approximately $735,000 per year and 3.68 million over that 5-year period. And that the calculation is shown there. So we're estimating a 7-unit project, with each unit being 1,750 square feet, which yields you 12,250 total square feet, which is then gets multiplied by the in lieu fee, which is currently $60 per square foot. So that would be an in lieu fee of 735,000. And then that's just multiplied over 5 years. You know, this is kind of a conservative estimate, so we're estimating one project per year that would pay the in lieu fee. Next steps, the second reading would be considered by council on December 2nd. And the staff recommendation is here, and it's slightly modified. We did provide a desk item earlier. So it has been modified to take into account the language in the desk item. And that concludes.
Sorry, just adding in one thing. I was going to preempt, there's probably questions from council on what projects this affects. Avoiding you have to ask the question, just want to put that into the conversation. Part of the proposals for you today were to help affordable housing projects. Campbell currently has 2 entitled affordable housing projects. This is the VTA project, the Charities Housing Project. Technically, this ordinance applies to projects going forward. Both those projects we can work with to come on and modify their approvals if they wish to take advantage of this ordinance. So, in any instance, when you have a new ordinance that benefits a project, you can modify approval to be subject to it. But I know you might be thinking of, and this came up in the policy study session, what does this affect going forward? So just want to disclose that to council in terms of at least the affordable housing projects and both housing projects in the future coming forward, any future projects this would apply to. Thanks.
Great, thank you. First, let's have questions from the council. Do you have any? Councilor Bobby.
Could you elaborate in terms of dollars, what that means, Rob?
Dollars. So getting to specifics for a.
Well, let's take the VTA project. If they were to be exempt from this, what would be the amount that would go into the in lieu fee?
Yeah, roughly, and again, I didn't come to discuss specific projects, but we have used at least the VTA project as an example. So, I mean, currently the VTA project does not qualify because it's not providing ground floor retail. We've learned from them and others, the provision of ground floor retail is very difficult for affordable housing projects. So that's the proposal to accept that. If the ordinance goes forward and they qualify, under the program, again, you get, excuse me, half of your park fees discounted going forward. For a project that size, rough numbers, it's roughly $1 million a reduction in park fee payment for a project like that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Hines.
Yeah, I just had a question. There was a review that we heard at the Cities Association from just a very recent case and about an overlay and issue with double counting on the overlay. Just want to see if you're familiar with that or if it affects this at all. And really just, is it affecting this particular ordinance?
Yeah, I am familiar with the case. I have not studied it thoroughly. It would not, by its terms, it does not address the ordinance that would be before the council today. Some of the reasoning in that case, however, could creep into something like that is being proposed as well as ordinances we already have on the books.
Okay, thank you. I'll leave my other comments to discussion.
Thank you. Do you have any other questions? Vice Mayor Furton.
Yes, my question relates to the proposal to extend the entitlements from 3 years to 5 years. Do you have any evidence to indicate that in doing that, if someone does not build in 3 years, do they actually build within 5 years?
I'll start. Eloisa knows 50 times more than I do about affordable housing. The challenge right now is the amount of be hard to give you a definitive answer, Councilmember Furtado. The challenge right now is the availability of funding, local, regional, state, federal for affordable housing has dried up. And the thought is, and if you're doing affordable housing, you need a funding stack of a variety of sources. Basically, this gives more time to the affordable housing projects, basically the ones entitled, to assemble that funding stack. If we were to not, they would expire out and might not come back. So couldn't tell you definitely. It just knowing the lack of the challenge in finding funding gives them more time to put together that financial package.
The reason why I asked the question is because to leave a piece of property undeveloped for that length of time can become an eyesore after a while. And it seems to me if the developer is interested in developing it, they initially decide to create the project or advance some funds or whatever, and they would intend to do it within a time frame that's reasonable. And giving them 2 more years, and then the property just sort of stays undeveloped is kind of a mess. And I'm just wondering, if they don't build in 3, are they really going to build in 5? And I have some serious questions about that. So
The only thing I'll add is just to qualify the council, this is only 100%
really hard.
affordable housing projects. So the ordinance before you today would not affect market rate projects, other projects, only affects 100% affordable housing projects.
Thank you. Do you have other questions?
Okay.
Councilmember Bud?
Another question. So what happens at the end of 5 years and they haven't built? Does the clock start again? Do they?
I'm going to ask Senior Planner Stephen Rose to address that. I believe they have an opportunity to still apply for an extension, but if you can give the details on that.
And would it be, I hope Stephen can hear, would it be 3 years or 5 years?
They would be availed a one-time 12-month extension returning. So that would be the option for them. And then at that point in time, they'd need to seek a new entitlement.
And the other question I had, can we include language in this ordinance to so that it doesn't apply to the existing projects that are entitled, so that we capture all of the 100% of the fees into the parking lot?
Yeah, I can jump in first on that, Rob. I would just add that there is no provision in this ordinance which would allow it to apply to previously entitled or approved projects. So those projects, in order to take advantage of the changes in, say, the affordable housing overlay zone to get a reduction in park fees, they would need to apply for a new entitlement, no different than any other project that would now be coming in.
But would the project have to be substantially different, or would it just be a application of the project that's been entitled?
It would need to go through our new permit process. It might have a distinct permit process, but it could be materially the identical application coming in.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Do we have more questions? Okay, let's open the public hearing and see if there's anyone from the public who would like to speak on this item. I don't see anyone in person. Do we have anyone online who wishes to speak?
We have John Pringle.
Okay, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. Council, I'm John Pringle. I'm representing Barbano Enterprises, the owner of the Hickory Pit site, one of those nasty looking sites that's been sitting around for 7 years attempting to get developed. The good news is the family has kept the service station operating in that time. I will say on a quick comment, it is not unusual. I can tell you about 30 projects in the Bay Area of 100 units or larger that have been trying to get built for well more than 5 years. So that is not an unusual predicament today. So I want to speak in support, of course, of the small unit density bonus plan. I'm not sure that's enough to swing our situation. We're analyzing building as many as 280 units. Planning staff has been extremely helpful. We have issues in structurally in the fact that we're building 35% of the project smaller than we would if we built a conventional project, which, for example, down the street, you have a big project on Bascom, built by the same group that built the Revere and Campbell. They have a competitive advantage with larger studios and larger one-bedroom units. Studios kind of mix in, but basically all the new projects are building larger one-bedroom units than 625 square feet. So as a consultant to the owners and the developer, I have to analyze that because that is a true drag on our rents by having to build that many small one bedrooms. Doesn't really affect the studio market. The concept is good. It simplifies things.
I'm sorry, do you mind wrapping up your comments? We have the 2 minutes are up.
Okay, my 2 minutes is up. Well, that's all I want to say. The other issue I have is with the city's park fees for our large project, it would be a $6.5 million, almost a $6.5 million hit, and it's too much. Thank you.
Thank you. Do you have anyone else online? Okay, do we have someone in person who wishes to speak? Go ahead.
Yes. Good evening.
Do you mind pressing the microphone icon? The icon on the side?
There we go. Good evening, Mayor, and good evening, Council. My name is Jeremy. I represent Presley Homes. We are building the homes on Campbell and Dillon Avenue near the park. And I'm here to express support for the small unit density bonus. I believe this policy helps fill a gap in the housing spectrum. I think we all recognize that we have lots of different types of folks who live in this community. Yes, there are more expensive single family homes, and yes, there are also below market rate units being produced as part of any new housing development. The hard part is that missing middle, that portion of housing that sits above the low market rate, but doesn't necessarily get those high prices in large homes. And I think this particular policy gives us a nudge to do that. And certainly our project would include it should this bill go through or this amendment go through. I think this was mentioned previously, but it also makes up for certain sites in this community that have deliberately chosen to underbuild, and surely that's their right to do so. I think it would help us restore a bit of balance to the density that was contemplated in the general plan. And lastly, I think most importantly, having more heads around downtown helps all of us. It helps create that pedestrian connection to downtown and the green yard. It helps open up wallets for our merchants downtown. And so with that, I think this is a practical, community-centered approach that balances growth, affordability, vibrancy, and good support. Thank you.
Thanks so much. So one last time, if there's anyone else who wishes to make comment. If not, we'll close the public hearing and come back to council for any discussion. Who wants to start us off? Councilor Hines.
Well, I'd love to hear that the support of this from some of the developers, the wastelands that I call them, of the Hickory Pit and the PG area need to get developed, and so really want to be able to get that. It's I guess what I'm hearing with this is it's 100% affordable. This is going to apply to, which is terrific. But I also want to make sure that we are supportive to our existing project plans. So it sounds like this is going to be for going forward on that. But when those plans come back for renewal, we want to be able to preserve our the funding that we have for the city. That's kind of my comment.
Thank you. Other comments? Vice Mayor Fricott.
Thank you. First of all, I did appreciate the comment from the developer regarding the 3-year to 5-year, although I still have some personal reservations about that because it just seems to prolong things for a very long period of time. Whereas, if it were at the 3-year, they could still apply for an extension for another 3 years or so. And I do appreciate the way that, we or others can provide incentives to allow this to happen or for smaller units and those kind of things. I think that's good. I do support the element with respect to eliminating the requirement for ground floor commercial for 100% units. I think that's a wise move. There is currently, as far as I know, a number of areas that still, the building is there, but we're not filling them with businesses just yet. I am a little concerned about the proposal to allow builders of less than 9 units to fee out and pay a fee. We're trying to get affordable housing built, and then you say, well, okay, you don't have to build it, but you have to pay us money. So then what are we going to do with the money? When are we going to use it? We'll sort of like never get the units built especially very low income and so on. So, building up a housing trust fund is helpful, but I don't think this is the way we should do it by allowing people to waive their requirement to build the very affordable housing. So those are my comments at this time.
Thank you. Councilmember Scozzolo?
Thank you. Yeah, that's funny. Again, Vice Mayor Furtado basically took the words out of my mouth. I just want to reiterate what my colleague just said. Thank you.
Thank you. Do you have any other comments? I'll just say I think these are very thoughtful proposals, and I appreciate the discussion that the Planning Commission had. Also, I read that closely, including some of the questions they asked and the feedback, and they really took the staff feedback and recommended the ordinance without modifications as proposed. So I think it's been well vetted. I do just want to. I think there's certainly room for a fair discussion around where the line is, just in response to my last two colleagues, where the line is between getting that additional unit versus getting some of the funds. I will just reiterate, it's my understanding this applies to that incremental half a unit where it kind of falls in between, if that's correct for staff, not the entire obligation, or am I misunderstanding that?
Robbie Stewart, Community Development Director. Question was on the fee out provision, correct?
Yeah, what exactly it applies to?
Our Campbell's existing ordinance, which was passed last year, allows units of 5 and 6 in size because they're small to fee out. If you do a 15% times 5 or 6, it's actually less than one whole unit. That principle allows those units to pay a fee instead of providing a unit. Today, if you're over 7 units, because 7 times 15 is one whole unit or over, you're obliged to require it. When we had the policy discussion back in August, we relayed feedback from the development community, especially these smaller projects in the 7, 8, 9 category. They've provided us feedback that the obligation to build an affordable housing unit on site, because there's less economy of scale, is very difficult to make projects pencil, this missing middle 7, 8, 9. And council had given feedback, and we had proposed for 7, 8, 9 to allow a fee out instead of the unit. So effectively, the ordinance before you today, if you're between 5 and 9 units, you could pay a fee. Once you're over 10, you're required to have a unit. There's still a provision that's not being requested by staff to be touched. If there's a fraction that's calculated that's below 0.5, let's say it calculates out, making that up to 3.3 units, you have to provide 3 units, you can pay a fee for the 0.3. That's on the books today. There's no request to change that. What's before you is, should we allow projects of 7, 8, 9 in size to pay a fee instead of requiring the unit to be built on site?
Thank you so much. So really helpful to walk through that. So to me, the difference is not, are we choosing between that extra affordable unit or a fee. It's, are we choosing between a project of 7, 8, or 9, or no projects? In which case you don't have any of those units being built. And I think we have a housing crisis at all levels, including at that missing middle, and we really do have to make sure that those projects pencil out. Let's go back to Councilmember Scazola.
Thank you. So what I fear is, Campbell, obviously we're pretty landlocked. We don't have much room to spread out. Usually you have to knock things over to rebuild, or there's very limited space. So, if we keep giving these, oh yeah, next time we'll get more affordable housing, next time, next project, next one will pencil out, that I fear that, ultimately we're going to run out of room and just, oh, we just never do it, So I just wanted to make that statement. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Councilor,
Maybe, can I ask a question to staff? Sorry, Rob, so maybe you can explain to me, we heard from two developers. One felt it was a good step, one felt it wasn't going to work. Maybe if you, are you able to kind of explain why it works for one, why it doesn't work for another? I don't know. I know that it's a lot of other factors, but just if you could try and take a shot.
Huge qualifier would be extremely hazardous for me to 100% portray the developers' feedback. So you might want to ask them. But, from working with them, and we talk to them weekly, monthly on these projects to see what makes them work. And the question is, will they pencil? These are 2 market rate projects. So from what we know, the new provision, this is the density bonus provision. This is the last part. That allows you to, if you put smaller units, you actually get a density bonus at a 1-to-1 ratio. The premise of this is that smaller units by design should be more affordable. We're more and more getting into a world where you have market rate units that either cost or rent a lot, and you have below market rate, which is substantially below that. Just observe in general, it's hard to have, let's say, the missing middle rents, and this is intended, just because the units are smaller, they have affordable by design units. So it's a special program. If they put in units that are smaller, they can add more units into the project, allows them to have economies of scale and pencil. I think what we've heard from the Cressley developer, and he's more than able to add more to this, is this will help their project pencil. They've been struggling for some years now because of the market as it is. With the Hickory Pit developer, we're continuing to work with them. I know he's looking at that and looking at calculations. I know part of that is the park fees. That would have to be a separate discussion in the future if we want to look at park fees. On principle, and this is a separate discussion, we don't charge park fees for certain types of ADUs. So it could be a future discussion if these smaller units, which are kind of the same size as an ADU and separate units, the council should consider in the future some sort of reduction in park fees. That's not on the table today. But I'd say what I've heard from both developers, it's helping them pencil in this very difficult market.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Just one other comment that I hadn't made is, sorry, thank you, is the taking away the commercial ground floor requirement, I think is a good, very good step. So.
Thank you. Do you have any other comments? If we don't, I'd like to propose a motion that council take the staff recommendation, first reading, introducing an ordinance amending chapter 21.24, the inclusionary housing ordinance, and chapter 21.14, overlay combining districts, and take first reading, introducing an ordinance amending chapter 21.20, density bonuses and other housing incentives, and including the desk item.
I'll second.
Second by Hines. Say, clerk, could we have the roll, please?
Councilmember Bybee.
Aye.
Councilmember Hines.
Aye.
Councilmember Scazola.
Abstain.
Vice Mayor Furtado.
Aye.
Mayor Lopez.
Aye. Thank you. And could you please read the title of the ordinance?
Being an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Campbell, amending Chapter 21.20 density bonuses and other housing incentives of the Campbell Municipal Code to implement Assembly Bill 1287, 2023, and establish a local density bonus incentive to encourage the production of small-scale housing units in furtherance of Program H-1M of the 2023-20 31 housing element, file number PLN 2025-135.
Thank you. Do we have a motion and a second to waive further reading?
I'll wait further reading.
I'll second.
Thank you. That was Bybee and Hines. Could we get the roll, please?
Councilmember Bybee?
Aye.
Councilmember Hines?
Aye.
Councilmember Scazola?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Furtado?
Aye.
Mayor Lopez?
Aye. And so just to keep us straight for those online and in the audience, that was the title of the inclusionary housing ordinance. I will now have the city clerk read the title of the ordinance regarding the overline combining districts ordinance.
Being an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Campbell, amending Chapter 21.24 inclusionary housing ordinance and Chapter 21.14 overlay combining districts of the Campbell Municipal Code to facilitate approval of housing development projects and to clarify related regulatory requirements, file number PLN 2025-135.
Thank you. Do you have a motion and a second to waive further reading?
I'll move further reading. Waive further reading of the ordinance.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Thank you. Bybee and Hines, could we have the roll?
Councilmember Bybee?
Aye.
Councilmember Hines?
Aye.
Councilmember Scazola?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Furtado?
Aye.
Mayor Lopez?
Aye. Thanks so much. And thanks everyone for bearing with us through all those readings. That brings us to new business 9.1. This is updates to Campbell Administrative Policy 2.8, our insurance claims procedures. We'll hear from our Finance Director, Will Fuentes.
All right, hello, council. I'm here, I'm here tonight, to go through and detail, some proposed changes to our insurance claims procedures. Under the agenda board item, and under attachment B, you will see each change detailed. I won't go through each change, but I will go through two key changes that require council approval. The changes being the changes are proposed. They're being proposed to take into account that since the policy was first put into place, the claims amounts that got, and also a cost increased over time. It's also to address just the overall speed of our process, to ensure to ensure that we are efficient and also effective. Also, to take into account take into account best practice that I see in other Bay Area agencies as well. So the two key changes are to just a section 7.F2 details who is able to settle a claim also for what amount, either me, a counsel, the attorney, or as well. So what proposing is to double almost each amount to take out the sub committee from the process in favor of the full council, and also to include the study attorney in the process. Attorney does play a role in the overall process of claims, but there's not a piece to a day in this section that would also give them both the power and also the input go to settle the claims, and then also the other change is to really detail who in pitching to the council is able to deny a claim. In this case, I had proposed it be me. It's also it had also aligned to a best practice that we see in other Bay Area agencies as well. There are again also other small changes that are detailed in Attachment B, and also I will also note that go through the policy again to confirm that all of all the languages consistent. And if there are any small adjustments to words, it's a thing that we will also correct. That won't I need extra council action. So with that, I will turn over to council for questions. And
Thanks so much. Do we have questions from the council? Start with Councilmember
I
Biden.
have one question, Will, on the settlement authority. I'm assuming, so the police chief and you as the risk manager have authority to settle claims within a certain range. I'm
Correct.
assuming that that's in conjunction with city manager and city attorney, that they're aware of that's happening?
they are, I mean, but the typical claims that get in, say, and the 10 to 20 range, typically for, say, tree claims, or also car claims as well. They aren't anything that is, say, like again, expensive a tripping case, or anything that's a case that could take time to go through the whole process.
Thank you.
Thank you. Do you have other questions? Not, let's see if we have public comment in person or online. And I'll bring it back to the council for any discussion.
You have some comments.
Yes, Vice Mayor Furtado.
I don't object to increasing the settlement authority. I think that's fine. However, I do think that we on the council should be made aware of these claims, periodic summaries, and not just numbers, but actually knowing something about what the claims are. I mean, that's part of our responsibility and our right to know. The unfortunate thing is that when things don't require approval of the city council, they often don't come before the council, or we don't get a report on that. And I think it is important that we have a little more detailed reports on these so that we have an idea. So, I mean, if necessary, I'd like to insert that into the authority, or some, assurance that we're going to get more information on that.
Thank you. You have Councilmember Biden.
I was going to point out that there is something in the policy that does refer to that, and it's a quarterly reporting to the city council of pending claims. So I don't know if that's sufficient for you, Dan, but that is in there. I'm trying to find it.
Okay.
It's section F, or section H, reporting requirements. On a quarterly basis, city manager will meet with designated risk manager to review status of all general liability claims. In addition, the manager and designated risk manager will keep the city council appraised of significant activity. We're going to revise that, take out the word significant, so it reflects, you'll see all activity based on council comments related to liability suits as a matter of routine.
So that's good. If you remove the word significant, because that is subject to interpretation, so that would be good. Thank you.
Any other comment? And I just want to repeat for those online, that was Vice Mayor Furtado expressing support for removing the word significant. Is that correct? Any others? Yeah, I'll just make the comments. I really appreciate the comments. I support the change in wording as well. And I think it's a good, just common sense update. And this doesn't need to be part of the motion, but we should just be thinking about this periodically. I don't know what the right period is, but as you have inflation and costs go up to make sure that we bring it back. I think it's a little out of date, so I'm glad that we're doing it. If we don't have further discussion, do we have a motion?
I'll propose a motion to accept the updates to the Campbell Administrative Policy 2.8 Insurance Claims Procedures as recommended by staff.
I'll second.
Great. Could we have the roll, please?
Councilmember Ivy.
Aye.
Councilmember Hines.
Aye.
Councilmember Scazola.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Furtado.
Aye.
Mayor Lopez.
Aye. Thanks so much. That Adam Paz, thank you, Will, for the presentation. That brings us to 9.2, which is modifications to City Council Policy Section 10. We will hear from Recreation Community Services Director Natasha Bissell.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, members of council. So tonight we have before you proposed modifications to City Council Policy Section 10 Miscellaneous. This section has become a catch-all of random policies that City Council has used over the years, dating back to the late 1990s of some of the information. As the report outlined, it kind of accumulated over time, just kind of putting things in there. The catalyst for bringing this forward tonight was our department needed to make updates to the building use policy for the facilities at the community center, and it's embedded inside of this section. So I took it on as a project to kind of get this cleaned up and worked with all the departments that had any type of weigh in on the subsections. So there were 17 subsections in the report. We are recommending that 7 of them be deleted as they're outdated or they're superseded by another ordinance, municipal code, or policy. 4 of them contain red lines with updates, and there's 2 that have no changes, and we have 4 that are recommended to be relocated, with 2 of them creating new policy sections. So we have one section, subsection, which was the special event fee waiver, which was subsection 10.14, which was already previously moved to section 22 City Council policy, but wasn't taken out of this section. And then also the remaining information that was not redlined in reference to the museum and Ainsley House was moved to section 21. So that was there. We're looking to create 2 new sections of City Council policies. There would be section 24, which would be the Edith Morley Community Garden Rules and Regulations, and then section 25, which would be a building use policy for the uses at the community center. Our hope is to kind of streamline how the policies look. A lot of the use policies have their own sections, so it would be in line with other City Council policies. It eliminates the outdated information that was kind of accumulating in this section, and it kind of creates kind of some dedicated space for policies that we use regularly to bring back to council for updating to make it clearer. So for the reason for us bringing this here was for the building use policy. And in that we do have some updates to our room descriptions and event amenities, clarifying our priority use system, updating our reservation procedures and timelines and tour guidelines, and some stronger rules around alcohol restrictions and clearer regulations for layout changes and staffing needs. Just making it easier for our staff to enforce policies out of the community center. So these revisions represent a comprehensive multi-department effort where we kind of worked together to kind of create a more streamlined, you can see in the clean copy, it's down to 4 pages with 4 subsections, so that'll be nice. And it modernizes section 10 to kind of clean it up to be more in line with other policy sections. So we are here tonight to propose those modifications and also recommend the adoption of the revised or the new section 24 and section 25. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thanks so much. Do you have questions from the council? Councilor Hines?
I just want to make sure I don't think this affects any of the labor contracts. I know the labor contracts are dependent are dependent on the use of this. I want to make sure none of the modifications would affect those labor contracts that are currently in place. These would be.
This section 10 does not include any labor contract information in there. So there was no information in regards to that in this section.
Very good, thank you.
Thank you so much. Any other question?
I have one question on the Ainsley House. That's going to come back to council?
Yes.
For the.
For some cleanup, for
Okay.
sure. So a lot of the information that was in this was outdated and how we utilize the space. And we've brought the use policy back. So we're going to bring that section back for some updating. I did include what we're keeping in there and just kind of meshed them together. But that policy is one we're looking to update early in the new year.
Okay. And then the other it's a comment really, but I wanted to get it on the record. And I talked to the city manager about it, is that the city hall parking is being stricken from this policy, but I really think that there should be a policy. It should be included in this policy. And I realize that parking right now is in flux with the PD and it hasn't been determined what.
Is unclear what we
parking
call
where.
them all right now until they're all finalized. So I think after that's finished, that'll be something else that's brought back.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks much. Any other comments? And if not, I'll entertain a motion in a second. Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you for the reminder. Public comment on this item, if any. Nope, we'll close public comment and then bring it back. First, is there any discussion?
I just want to
Councilor.
thank staff for taking this on. It's a lot of this is old policy, and it's quite an undertaking to try and coordinate it all and work with other departments. So I appreciate the effort.
Thank you. Any other comments? I also just want to express my appreciation and thank you, Natasha, for taking this on. I'm sure it became a much larger project.
It did
that
snowball.
was initially in your scope. So thank you for your leadership. I know it's complex. Now I'll entertain a motion in a second.
I'll move the staff recommendation.
Second.
Do I need to be more specific, or it's a resolution, I believe, right?
I think that that's good. And Vice Mayor Furtado beat you to the punch.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah.
Be my guess.
No, you beat me. You beat me.
Yeah.
Second.
I spoke too soon.
Okay.
Beat Councilor Hines to the, go ahead. Could you read the roll, please?
Clarify, Bybee and.
That was Bybee and
Furtado.
Furtado.
Okay. Councilmember Bybee.
Aye.
Councilmember Hines.
Aye.
Councilmember Scazola.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Furtado.
Aye.
Mayor Lopez.
Aye. Thank you. That item passes. And we have no unfinished business today, so that brings us to number 11, council committee reports. Who wants to speak? So, your Vice Mayor Furtado, please.
Just a very brief comment. I have no real updates, but the Stormwater Management Authority has sent an article for publication in the Campbell Press about adopt a storm drain. And the Campbell Press has agreed to run it free without any charge. And so it just sort of makes the public aware of stormwater and its management and things that people can do to help keep it clean and keep things that shouldn't be going into the creek. So I think that's very great. Thank you.
Thank you. Who wants to go next? Councilmember Bybee.
So I attended the Cities Association meeting last Thursday, and I just wanted to bring the council up to speed on an issue that's brewing there that was raised by the city of Cupertino regarding the bylaws, and which has to do with the appointment of the executive committee members, and it allows for two non-board members who are elected members or mayor of the association cities to serve on the executive committee. And the city of Cupertino has formally asked that the bylaws be reviewed and updated. Unfortunately, we ran out of time and the item was continued to the January meeting, but there is a possibility that it's going to come back to the cities for review of the bylaws regarding that particular clause in the bylaws. So I wanted to let everybody know, and I can provide further details if and when it comes to the council.
Thank you. Councilor Hines.
I'm done. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I just wanted to go over, I had a couple of excellent reviews. I visited with the Silicon Valley at Home Roundtable, and it was for elected officials, and they're excellent understanding as to what they're participating and what their ideas are. Cities Association Legend Board, I attended that, did a tour of the Ainsley House and the Xmas Decor. And I thought it'd be a great idea to sign up my whole family to go to the tea. And got the last ticket there. I only got one, So I got the last ticket. Amazing to have that attendance and an amazing decor in the house. I did the Santa Clara County Preventing Homelessness webinar, excellent webinar that they put on to be able to raise awareness on preventing homelessness. Then the Campbell Veterans Memorial Association, the Veterans Day celebration was excellent. Excellent speeches that were provided there as well. I attended the Stormwater Board and Solid Waste Recycling as the alternate with and provided a write-up to Dan, and Dan Furtado was the primary. And I want to do a shout out to Nash Market right downtown. I encourage you to go there and have the Wiener Schnitzel and Spätzle. It's really outstanding. Thank you. That's all.
Thank you. Councilmember Scazola, would you like to share?
No report at this time. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'll just share a few brief highlights from my chair's report from the last VTA meeting, which was the Thursday following our council meeting. First off, I shared about an anti-human trafficking conference, which VTA recently hosted in conjunction with the South Bay Coalition on Human Trafficking and the Santa Clara County District Attorney's Office. And this was really in preparation for the mega events and sports events in 2026, Super Bowl and FIFA, and the associated rise that we sometimes see with those kind of events with human trafficking. And VTA pioneered about 10 years ago a policy to provide training that was in collaboration with workforce and labor that now has become a statewide policy, thanks to, I believe, Senator Dave Cortese. That has been very successful. So we shared a bit about that in addition to the ongoing work that we are conducting. Another highlight that I shared was that previously we had VTA had its first meeting of what we're calling the Culture and Climate Ad Hoc Committee. And this is a body that was formed with representatives from labor to provide regular ongoing venue to talk through issues. At the first meeting, we reviewed survey results and to really focus on how to improve exactly what it says, the culture and the climate of the workforce at VTA and make it an excellent workforce. And so had labor representatives, 3 board members, including myself, and executive and management staff with VTA. So I'll end with those 2 highlights for now. Always happy to share more if there are any questions. And that concludes our meeting. We are now adjourned. Thank you.